without further ado, let's get into our first segment, which is going to be entitled New Tricks or New Tricks. So, the San Diego Seals, in their team history, they've actually done very well, should I say. From 2019, 2020, 2022, 2023, and this year, they have been really good straight out the gates. In 2019, they were tied for second in the West at season's end with a 10-8 record. That year, they had Dan Dawson, Garrett Billings, Kyle Buchanan, Casey Jackson, Austin Stotts, who was a rookie at that point. But they lost in the Western semifinals. In 2020, they finished 6-6, but the playoffs were canceled. They were tied for third in the West with Wesley Berg, Zach Greer, Connor Fields, who was a rookie. That's two teams that wish they would have kept Connor Fields. Like I said, the playoffs were canceled. 2022, they finished 10-8, tied for first place in the West with Wesley Berg, Austin Stotts, Dane Doby, Trey LeClaire, Jeremy Noble, etc. But they lost in Western Finals Game 3. And then last year, they were 14-4 with Wesley Berg, Dane Doby, and Curtis Dixon all scoring 100 points each, and they lost to the Colorado Mammoth. And now you're saying, well, wait a minute. This team's supposed to be good, and they're 12-4 this year with a chance to finish 14-4 once again. What is going on? Does this team have something more in the tank? Do they have any new tricks, if you will? Here are the stats once again. Let's do it from this year first. Wesley Berg has got 97 points. Austin Stotts has 92. Dane Doby has 66. Curtis Dixon has 57. Last year, they had three players with 100 or more points. Austin Stotts had 75. Kevin Crowley had 32. A reason to mention my Kevin Crowley signed ball. There you go. But last year also, you could argue, well, they had Frank Scigliano, and this year they had Chris Riglieri, and that might be true. Riglieri has a 2-hole percentage, higher save percentage than Frank Scigliano did last regular season. But the Seals also, last year, there were 11 players with 10 caused turnovers or more on the roster. 11. This year, there's 3 with 2 games to play. You want me to believe that the choke artists in San Diego with Dane Doby, who was falling off a cliff, and I say falling off a cliff because last year he had 101 points, this year he got 66. So yes, that is technically falling off a cliff. Do I believe they're just going to suddenly go on a magic run because Christian Riglieri has had a good year? I don't. I'll look at the NLL's website, not the NLL's website, but the NLL's page real quick. They have this post that says, if the playoffs started today, you know, who would the Seals play? They would play Panther City. Now, I think they would beat Panther City, but then they would line up with the winner of Albany and Halifax. Halifax would love to get back at them. Albany would love to beat them as well, and I think Albany could beat them. But you have to wonder, what is it with the Seals team that makes them so capped, if you will? Like, whenever you're looking at the Seals team, obviously the star power is there. Obviously the goaltending was there kind of last year, and this year definitely is there. Why doesn't anyone believe they'll win the championship? Because Dane Doby, Curtis Dixon, and Wesley Berg are old as dirt. It reminds me of the Brooklyn Nets when they went against Miami Heat. You had the Brooklyn Nets who had Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and some other players on there. They were supposed to be they were going to contend with the Miami Heat who had LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. Well, Wesley Burke, Dane Doby, and Curtis Dixon are going to contend with a team that um has Dane Smith and Josh Byrne, or that has Lyle Thompson and Shane Jackson, or has Jeff Teague and Stephen Keogh, or Challen Rogers and Tom Schreiber and Mark Matthews. I know Mark Matthews is not the best example of a young chicken, but he's definitely an example of he's got a prime Tom Schreiber on his side. These guys have Austin Stotts, but again, last year, 3 guys at 100-plus points. This year, 1 guy might and 2 guys might. And the 2 is like, if Austin Stotts goes off in the next 2 games. I'm saying all that to say this. Once again, you can blame Schigliano last year. Maybe rightfully so, maybe not. But you can also remember 11 players with 10 call turnovers or more is way more than 3. So why should I expect the Seals to do better this year? If depending on their first round matchup, yeah, they can make it to the next round. But much like the Georgia Swarm, this team will be capped at Game 3 in the semifinals, and I don't think they're going to make the finals. I trust Toronto. I trust Albany. I trust Buffalo. I trust a few teams more than I trust the San Diego Seals right now. Again, last year, heartbreak against the Mammoth. That's fine. This year, it doesn't look like it's better. It looks like it might be even worse. And worse meaning second place in the entire league. But again, worst still matters because last year you got bounced. This year, I don't see anything why it'll be any different. I just don't. Nothing wows me about the Seals this season. There's nothing I can say, wow, that team's been great besides their 20-year-old goalie who, again, cannot stop the only 3 players with 10-plus cause turnovers. Like, where's the dogs on the team? There's not any. There's a few guys, but last year they had 11 guys like that, and now what happened?